What up, people? All right. Yes, it's Sunday. It's a closing plenary. But we're hip-hop, and we're loud, and we make things happen. So I need a little bit more energy. All right. Dead Prez in their song Radio Freak tells us, the radio will never play it, but that's cool because the enemy is supposed to hate it. In his new album, the cool hip-hop artist Lupe Fiasco says, the ink of a scholar is worth more than 1,000 martyrs. And Biz Markie told us to make the music with our mouths. And Public Enemy told us, don't believe the hype and burn Hollywood burn. Today I'll change that a little bit and remix it and say burn corporate media, propaganda media, government media, burn. Hide nothing from the masses of the people. Tell no lies, expose lies wherever they are told, mask no difficulties, mistakes nor failures, and claim no easy victories. These are the words of Amilcar Cabral, founder of the Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola. Well, today we can claim a victory. Despite the mainstream media and the government's desire to subvert and silence our voices, we refuse to be silent. We are victorious because we have gathered in Minnesota over 3,000 strong, over 500 hip-hop generations strong to speak and act truth to power. The hip-hop duo again, Dead Prez, tells us in their album, Let's Get Free, telling lies to our vision, telling lies to our children, telling lies to our babies, only truth can save us. You can't fool all of the people all of the time. But if you fool the right ones, then the rest will fall behind. Tell me who's got control of your mind and your worldview? Is it the news or the movie you're taking your girl to? Those prophetic words uttered over 8 years ago ring so true today. Post 9/11, the majority of the American people have been living under a blanket of lies and fears. As a youth, particularly as a youth of color, we must tell the truth. We must be the ones not fooled. We must be the torchbearers of truth. We must remember that youth have always taken risks, from the Soweto uprisings in South Africa to African American and Mexicano children in the 50s and 60s who walked out of schools, to the 17, 18, 19-year-old men and women who joined the ranks of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Black Panther Party, the American Indian Movement, the Black Liberation Movement, the Young Lords. We have always been a catalyst for change. I bring those organizations up because they understood the need to tell their message and create their own media. As a hip-hop generation, we must make a call for media justice, not only as something we talk about, but something that is inherent to our humanity. As a Puerto Rican Black woman born and raised in the Bronx, I often find it difficult to be optimistic, to be hopeful, to envision true freedom and justice. In a time where this government is elected by elitist people or selected by Supreme Court judges, in a time where Black and brown votes never really count, it's hard to imagine better times. But they're here. These stories tell us that they're here. So you may ask now, Habari Ghani, what's the good news? Well, the good news is that even in the constant state of oppression and repression, we are the defenders of human rights, of civil liberties, of truth-telling. Even in these most desperate times, we are one step closer to freedom. As we dare to struggle, we also dare to win. The question should never be, can we struggle, but do we want to win? On April 4th, 1967, at Riverside Church, Dr. Martin Luther King delivered his famous anti-war speech, Beyond Vietnam. He reminded us, when the issues at hand seem as perplexed as they often do in these cases of dreadful human conflict, we are always on the verge of being mesmerized by uncertainty, but we must move on. Well, we know the world in which we live, and we've always believed that another world is possible. Our ancestors, when they broke those chains everywhere around the world, they knew for the future another world has to be made. The answer always must be, can we do this? Not always, yes, you can, but we will do. Not always, yes, you can, but we will do. We have the privilege to stand on the shoulders of great ancestors like Nat Turner, John Brown, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Ida B. Wells Barnett, Pedro Albizu Campos, and Fannie Lou Hamer, who said, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Right after September 11th, George Bush declared, you're either with us or against us. And I say to everybody who's an elitist and everyone who's holding back the progressives that there's more of us. And if you're not with us, we're against you. So let us stand up for freedom. Let us leave this conference energized. Let us organize our people, our hoods, our colleges, our schools, our prisons. Let us be inspired to go to our communities and effect change at every level via media justice. Let us incite calls for freedom and justice. And in the words of the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass, I prefer to be true to myself, even at the hazard of incurring the ridicule of others, rather than to be false. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppose. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom, yet depreciate agitation, are men who want crops without planting up the ground. They want rain without thunder or lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar. The struggle may not be a moral one. It may be a physical one. It may be both. But it's always a struggle. Power concedes nothing without demand. It never has, and it never will. Peace, y'all.